Hello and welcome to the first episode of the Boys Book Club. My name is Simon. I'm joined with all my co-hosts here as we are going to dive into the world of booktok and all the wonderful stories it has to offer. We are going to start with none other than Morning Glory Milk Farm by C.M Nascosta. This was published in 2021, and although we are a little bit late to the party, I've heard only amazing things about it, and I'm excited to share this experience with my friends. We're joined with my fellow hosts. You guys want to introduce yourselves at all?
Hello, I'm Z Swag. Good to be here. I'm excited.
I'm T Dog. I'm thrilled to be here as well.
I'm so happy to be here with all my friends, reading Morning Glory Milk Farm, new to the genre. Let's get started.
All right. So we're going to be drinking a few wines tonight here, and then to get it started, too, we're going to be spinning the wheel to decide who gets to read first. I'm just going to be pouring up this. You guys feel free to help yourselves.
I have to say, Simon, that was good.
Dive on in. I think we're gonna, whichever way the feet are pointing on this guy is gonna be whoever reads first, alright? Does that sound fair?
Yeah. Try to spin the
Sounds
bottle.
like a good plan to me.
Thanks. Of course.
You go, T Dog.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you, Z Swag.
Oh,
That's
I
pointing
think
in
it's
there.
I thought that was going to happen.
alright. Start us off then.
Alright, everyone's ready. Beautiful cover art. Alright, let's see. Nice milk jug in the cover. Okay. Chapter 1. The goal for every client is a plentiful, speedy collection. That is the expectation with which you will approach every shift, getting our clients in and out, and on with their day, all while maintaining our quality protocols. A plentiful, speedy collection makes for happy clients and a productive farm. The fox-like woman's beaming, sharp-edged smile froze her. Glinting canines transformed into something sinister and vaguely threatening as Violet tapped the laptop, pausing the video for the third time that morning. She'd not yet made it past the introduction today, meaning to repeatedly remind herself to breathe and stay upright. She was home, so bolting out into the hallway and making a break for the elevator would make little sense, particularly if she wanted to avoid the uncomfortable scenario of her elderly neighbors hearing the sound of the video coming from her apartment and discovering what she was watching. She thought of little old Mrs. Molstein from down the hall, a withered, hunched crone with the beginnings of dementia, accidentally wandering into the wrong apartment, catching sight of the instructional video and having a stroke right there in the middle of the living room.
It's quite the start. Just diving straight into it all.
Well, I'd imagine that there's going to be a few strokes throughout this book.
Let's see that.
Is that what you want? For the last thing that sweet old woman sees is some minotaur getting a tug job? Get a fucking grip and make up your mind. Her portal access was only good for another 8 hours. 8 hours in which to decide whether or not she'd be a good fit for the team at Morning Glory Farm. If her jangling nerves and ever-present anxiety would allow her to take the plunge and click accept. The implication of the foxwoman's words and what exactly she'd be gripping if she took the job occurred to Violet then, and she moaned in mortification. It wasn't the first preposterous mental image she'd concocted since leaving Cambric Creek the previous afternoon, and Violet was certain, as she clicked play once more, that it wouldn't be the last. The job listing had seemed too good to be true. Now hiring technicians and assistants, no prior experience required, on-the-job training. Full benefits, flexible scheduling. Visit our webpage for more information and apply today. Morning Glory Farm is a subsidiary of Fizzle Pharmaceuticals. Violet had known it the moment it pinged the hiring app on her phone nearly a week ago. She'd squinted at her phone screen in disbelief as she'd scrolled. No experience necessary. On-the-job training provided. 2 weeks vacation and full benefits, including dental. Dental?
Sounds
I
like
don't blame her for jumping at the opportunity.
It is lucrative.
Yes.
Simon?
Mm-hmm.
She had no idea what a milking technician was, nor what it entailed. But the advertised starting salary was higher than any belonging to the handful of jobs open in her degree field, none of which paid enough to comfortably keep a roof over her head. All right, this is just me. And now I'm wondering what her career field is, because, I mean, I think that's a quite telling commentary on the modern world, and where it is almost more profitable to work in a milking farm than to do skilled labor with your degree.
I agree. I hope we find out what Cambric Creek was.
Going on, though, the family upstairs had chosen that moment to begin what sounded like a good old-fashioned barn-stomping square dance, reminding her that the roof over her head wasn't exactly anything to brag about, which made the fact that she struggled to pay her rent even more galling. Pumpkin, Daddy and I have been talking. Now I know you're going to say no, but please just think about it, okay? We think you ought to consider coming home while you're looking for work. She had practically been able to hear her mother raising a hand to hold off any protestations. Couldn't imagine it easily. I could imagine it easily, too. If you think you'd feel too crowded in the house now that Aunt Grace is with us, we can clean out the loft over the garage. It would be like having your own little apartment. You wouldn't need to worry about rent, and you'd be out of that awful city. Just promise me you'll think about it, all right? It doesn't make any sense to be wasting so much money before you found something stable, and it would be so nice having you home. She gripped the phone with whitened knuckles, trying to hold back her tears until disconnecting.
stronger.
Sorry.
Come handy later.
Her mother always seemed to
Qualified.
know when to call, always knew when she was at her lowest and most vulnerable, always with an abundance of love, overflowing with compassion and eager to help, but always at the worst fucking times.
That's the worst.
Yeah. You know, I'm getting the imagery here. The author, C.M Nascosta, is really painting the image of the setting we're at. Kind of gives the girl moves to a big city, away from family. And
Trying to make a name for herself.
Yeah. She's getting some pushback from her
Streets.
Milking farm.
Right.
But even one page in, it's interesting how, although this character has already been set up for these like classical romance tropes, it still feels fresh because the subject matter is just craziness.
Yeah.
Yeah. Kind of mixes some, a little bit of modern, some modern themes along with an old classic kind of story. So, yeah, looking forward to reading more. Oh, we'll take the top off as well. Thank you. All right. Shall we continue?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So moving to Bridgeton for grad school. Okay.
Grad school.
Okay.
Right.
Oh,
There we
now
go.
it's starting to
That's
get
the
spicy.
thing. I'm trying, not even about the spice, but I'm just trying to establish what her life is like,
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
we'll let the book tell on.
Yeah. Okay. So moving to Bridgeton for grad school had always been a point of contention with her mother. Too dangerous, too expensive, too dirty, too far away. She hadn't wanted her only child moving to the big city, as we mentioned. Several hours away from her hugs and home-cooked meals and her own untreated anxiety disorder. But Violet had been adamant. It was a bitter pill to swallow now, being forced to admit her mother was not wrong in her assessment. There was a particular sort of indignity that came along with being simultaneously well-educated and in dire straits financially. She had done everything right, had studied hard, made the dean's list, participated in campus events, graduated with honors.
So this could be a redemption story.
Yeah.
Very well could be.
She
Yeah.
just needs a lucky break, is what I'm hearing.
Y'all just need someone to take a chance.
Just waiting to explode.
Yeah.
Love a comeback.
Looks like she's ready to burst for one of those.
I mean, all this build up.
I know.
So much suspense. Just carry on.
She's ready to blow. But then by the time she had earned her bachelor's degree, her chosen job field required a master's, sending her back to the classroom, taking out several loans to do so, confident that she'd begin her career immediately after graduation. Her part-time job in the urban development office actually put her degree to use, but they've been upfront that it was unlikely to turn into a permanent position, not with the scads of people who had priority ahead of her.
So I'm hearing an urban planning type degree or something adjacent, right?
You know, it's quite odd that Violet, our main character, just is now finding out that she requires a master's degree.
I mean,
to be in
could
this
that
field.
could that show a kind of reflection of her character and what's to come? Maybe rushing into things before fully thinking it out.
Oh,
That's true.
I have a feeling that when she does find her career path, she'll fall in love with it.
I sure
I mean,
hope so.
It says, you know, it does say she's a hard worker.
Yeah.
She's done well in school, but maybe she just overlooks, you know, the bigger picture in that way.
Yeah.
So,
maybe she's naive
yeah.
or optimistic.
And aren't we all?
Yeah.
I see a little bit of Violet in myself.
Yeah,
you
Yeah.
know.
I do too.
Being in love is being in a very vulnerable spot.
Yeah.
Seems like she's no stranger to that.
Yeah, so Bridgeton was too expensive, and Violet had come to admit that she didn't actually love living in the middle of a big urban city the way that she thought she would. Admitted it to herself, at least. She's not admitting that back home.
Yeah. That not to her mom, that's for sure.
After all the criticism. If I don't find something soon, I'm not going to have much of a choice, she agreed bitterly, pressing her tongue into the roof of her mouth as her mother cooed sympathetically. Don't cry. If you start crying, she'll drive here tonight.
It's so real though.
A harrowing image.
In hindsight, putting yourself into debt to work in the nonprofit sector seemed almost comical. Would have been a fucking riot for anyone else. Unfortunately, it was hard to appreciate the humor of the situation when she was the butt of the joke. Don't I know it? There had been no crystal ball to show her that the job market would bottom out. No sidewalk soothsayer to warn her away from the debt that she was taking on. There had been no crystal ball to show her that the job market would bottom out. No sidewalk soothsayer to warn her away from the debt that she was taking on. The near future had no clarion at all, and so she never suspected she'd find herself overqualified for 75% of the jobs, with openings and unable to pay back her student loans with the entry-level salaries they offered. She was tired of struggling to pay her rent, was sick at the thought of moving home, back to the boring little town she'd lived in her entire life, where no one ever left and no one ever did anything but have more kids to ensure the future generations of drudgery. To the loft above her parents' garage, currently filled with boxes from Aunt Gracie's house, and evidence of her mother's hobbies pursued and long since abandoned, was not one she could abide. Now here was this job, a potential lifeline if she got it. She'd click the apply now button without another moment of hesitation. Anything would be better than moving home. Who cares what it's for? Famous last words. She'd been forced to admit the previous day, squirming in her seat as the training video had been queued up, glancing surreptitiously at the other prospective new hires in attendance. A green-skinned woman with broad shoulders and curving tusks, whose long black braids sat heavily on her shoulder. A slender troll who'd scarcely left from her phone since they'd entered the video room. So it's a bit more of a fantasy.
Yeah, so actually that's a good point. I want to kind of touch on that. So what I've heard too is that not only does this book kind of touch on the like Minotaur and human relations, but there is that like extra fantasy element where there are other species in this world. Mm-hmm. And so I am excited to see how that kind of plays out further in the book here.
Yeah.
But Minotaurs is the only one I know of, and now did you say orcs? Trolls.
Trolls. So I think one of the things I'm most excited about is going to be the world building here. Especially integrating fantasy aspects like that into a work like this. I'm interested.
Sure, and I think we've really set the stakes within those first few pages here.
Yeah, I was gonna say. I mean, how many pages are we in so far?
This is the top of the seventh.
I mean, and we've already established she's a urban planning graduate who can't find a job. All this angst about her family relations and this new job opportunity. I mean, it's kind of astounding what Nascosta, so apologies, was able to set up within the first 7 pages here.
And can we have a moment for the verbiage? The language?
What was that? Yeah, what was that last word?
Surreptitiously.
Surreptitiously.
I'm learning just by reading this.
Quite verbose.
Verbose indeed.
Alright. An anxious-seeming young woman with long, rabbit-like ears carried a water bottle emblazoned with the local university's logo, and a pair of goblins who seemed to know each other, if their non-stop chatter was any indication. There was not another human in sight, but Violet had been half expecting. Very diverse.
Are they all milkers, is my question.
We'll see. They're like a front desk.
This seems like they're in the waiting room for the training, maybe?
Well, yeah, I think this was like the intro video call.
Yeah.
Oh, is that what it is?
Yeah.
And, and honestly, I wouldn't be surprised that, I think the lack of other humans is probably an intentional choice.
Yeah.
Because, we've all started a new job, and quite honestly, it does feel like you're entering a world of goblins and trolls, and you're just there trying to fit in, find your niche.
What I'm curious about, though, is that at the beginning, our main character, Violet, was talking about how if she had to run, or she, because she kind of felt uncomfortable towards the beginning of the story that her neighbors would be running at the first tug of the first. So is this at the facility or is this in her apartment?
I think that we're still in her apartment.
Well,
and the
wait,
goblins are on the video.
No. Okay, I think we're getting mixed.
I think there'd been a little bit of a time
I
jump.
think there was a time jump. I think she was watching an at-home training video and was self-conscious about her
I think
neighbors
this is the next day now.
walking it. Yeah, and she's going there now. This is her first day at Cambric Creek. Pardon me.
There's a lot to digest here. Yeah, what's going on?
If I may, just what we read a second ago. Anything would be better than moving home. Who cares what it's for? Famous last words she'd been forced to admit the previous day. Squirming in her seat as a training video had been queued up.
I see.
That's a good point.
Yep. All right.
Okay.
Hey, well, let's get back in.
Sure.
Yeah.
Of course. The interview process had been simple and straightforward. An online portal to apply, followed by a video call during which she'd been asked about her work history and organizational skills. She'd been invited to visit the facility for the final step in the process, traveling to Cambric Creek, a neighboring suburb that boasted a multi-species population, a longer commute than she'd been hoping for. But as the GPS led her through the suburb's quaint downtown, past shops and restaurants, until housing developments gave way to agriculture and industrial parkways, she reminded herself of the full benefits offered. Before she knew it, she was turning onto a long, circular driveway, parking in front of a building with the outer facade of a great red barn. Praying this might be the break she needed. It's going to be fine. You can do this. Who cares if you're the only human? You really need this job. The aesthetic design of the building went out of its way to invoke that friendly feeling of a neighborhood farmstead, both inside and out. Artificial turf in the lobby, with the ceiling painted to look like a summer sky. Bright, punchy colors that invoked gleaming tractors and richly painted barns, with milk glass vases of daisies on every surface. They had spared no expense creating the visuals. Violet thought as she'd filled out tax forms and onboarding paperwork before she joined the small cluster of other prospective hires. The farmhouse aesthetic ended within the sterile white hallways of the employee corridors, the synthetic turf flooring of the lobby giving way to linoleum and the bright colors smoothing out to cool eggshell and ice blue. A strange prickle of apprehension had creeped up her neck, a shiver she'd attributed to jitters and the strangeness of being the only human in the group.
Oh, can you very I like the shift from farmhouse to like very like Severance-y kind of like
Yeah.
just corridors and things. This is
This isn't an ordinary farm, clearly.
Yeah. It definitely feels very modern and in the times. Like, I feel like when you visit downtown, depending on the building, you'll see some artificial turf and some paint jobs and some different aesthetics.
yeah. Well, especially too this like kind of faux fantasy mixed with real world kind of background that she's already established. I feel like this is just totally in line with it. It's a barn house that leads straight into just like a sterile milking environment, I guess. But all right, diving back in. Today we'll be giving you a tour of the facility, as well as the opportunity to register on our online portal and watch some process videos. Your portal access is good for 24 hours, in which time you'll need to decide whether you'll be a good fit for our team. If the answer is yes, you can input your schedule availability, and you'll be put into the rotation for the following week. That seems like pretty good work hours, I can't lie.
That's fair.
Yeah.
Yeah, like that. But is this like the Amazon of the world where you can just work any hour of the day because they're always going to need hours?
True. It could be.
Could be, but
I'm curious as well why they seem very quick to onboard.
Yeah.
What happened to the last,
right, like they'll schedule you the next week. Like that's a quick turnaround.
It seems like they're desperate for.
Now, do you think it's a quick turnaround, like employees in and employees out very quickly, or do you think they're growing so fast that they're just trying to meet demand?
Could go either way.
Yeah,
I like the point you brought up about businesses these days. The exterior isn't always as nice as actually working there.
yeah. This seems like a lot of kind of corporate mumbo jumbo, kind of covering up what could be, I don't know, strange operation. But I think let's keep it going. Also, I read that in a male voice, but as it says here, the girl had paused to smile brightly once more, a spade-tipped tail swishing behind her. Your first 2 weeks on the job will be shadowing technicians who've been with us from the beginning. So rest assured, you'll be shown everything you need to learn before you'll be on your own. Violet had trailed on the edge of the group for the next hour, feeling awkward and out of place as they followed the tiefling. Oh, a tiefling.
Oh.
So, like a dragon, right?
No, that's for those in the audience that aren't familiar. The tiefling came from the Dungeons and Dragons rulebook. Yeah, that's a half demon. As far as I
Oh.
remember.
Oh, with the spade-tipped tail.
Interesting.
Likely horns, maybe goat horns, something like that.
Okay.
So it's the person doing the orientation.
I guess so.
Yeah.
Maybe that's a insight onto the corporate structure and the type of people running this business.
Oh.
Well, let's give them the benefit of the doubt. We still have to see,
Good point.
what the working conditions are like.
Very good point. But anyways, as Violet trailed on the edge of the group for the next hour, feeling awkward and out of place as they followed the tiefling in and out of various rooms, and she hadn't been any closer to understanding what exactly the job she'd applied for entailed by the time they were led to a large classroom-like space, taking seats at the table as the first training video was queued up. The overhead lights had dimmed, and instantly the chatter in the room had ceased. Everyone straightening to attention as the video began. A bright-eyed woman with the features of a fox had filled the screen. Beaming from the center of the same lobby, the prospective employees had gathered in that morning, wearing a black and white Hohenstein printed apron. Not sure.
Oh, it's a brief count.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. A whole
Interesting.
strange in this world of huh?
It almost feels like the state fair. Like
Yeah.
the cream puff.
Yeah. Wearing a black and white Hohenstein printed apron over a white cap sleeve top. Behind her, filling the upholstered lobby chairs, was a cluster of minotaurs. Oh boy. Alright, I'm going to pass this on. I think this is about to get a little crazy here.
Get right to it. All right.
On the job training.
It's,
Wait, where?
Wait,
it's a welcome. Yeah.
okay.
Do you mind if I actually mind? Oh, of course.
Welcome to Morning Glory Farm, Incorporated nearly a decade ago, our mission has remained the same since the day our lab processed its first specimen. To uphold the integrity of the genetic material in our care, to set a new standard in pharmaceutical processing that the entire industry would model, and to provide a client-first attitude in all we do. Our brand new state-of-the-art facility in Cambric Creek marries all three tenets, putting the client experience at the center of our collection process. So it appears that these minotaurs are clients, so they're seeking the help
Oh,
of the, and clearly this is a lucrative material that we're collecting here.
Sure.
So should be treated with respect. Okay. As a milking technician on our collection floor, you will be tasked with ensuring a plentiful, speedy collection, processed in accordance with our standards in safety and sterility. We've already taken a tour of the facility. Now you'll get to see our process in action. Follow me. On the screen, the foxwoman had twinkled as one of the minotaurs behind her rose, following her through a set of double doors. Violet had felt a sudden wave of nerves grip her, an inexplicable panic that had tightened her throat and made her grip the sides of her chair.
I'm sorry, does Violet not know what she's doing at this point? Like, you're at Morning Glory Milk Farm. Like, I'm sorry, but you...
Wasn't the job title listed milking technician?
That's what yeah, right, like...
She just went to Madison Square Garden and forgot her basketball shoes.
Yeah. No, quite literally.
You know, as before, when we were describing her plight with her degree, she seems to,
Kind of rush into things.
yeah, be a little impulsive and not really know what she's getting herself into.
And now she's in too deep, it seems.
She's in there.
A plentiful, speedy collection. What does that mean? What do the minotaurs have to do with anything? She had no idea. I don't know what's going on up there, but...
So I'm saying, is this a college-educated girl, or is this like, what kind of degree is this?
She was mortified before she even knew what to be mortified about.
She had an instinct.
Oh,
You know,
maybe something is drawing her to this.
That's why we shoot.
she had no idea why, no clue what had caused the sudden premonition to squeeze her heart, but a tiny panicked voice in her head had begun to whisper, "Run!" As you've already seen, our state-of-the-art collection rooms have been designed for both client comfort and ease of execution by our milking technicians. The beveled design puts the tools you need right at your fingertips, which will come in handy, keeping the process seamless and efficient. A dedicated team ensures each collection room is fully stocked and set up for every client so there's no lag time, setting you up for success.
Okay, I mean, it seems like they give you all the tools at the very least, but...
Yeah, not getting right to cranking on your first day.
Yeah.
She's missing some of the
Middle of the page on the first.
Tools within.
Right there, third paragraph.
Sorry, one moment. On the screen, several feet above the cheerful woman on the upper portion of the curiously designed room, the Minotaur had lowered his pants. Violet wasn't sure if her strangled gasp had been swallowed up by the room, for no one had turned up or shushed her, and she'd been very nearly able to convince herself she'd imagined seeing the quick glance of a rounded backside and swishing tail as the camera panned over a chrome appliance in the center of the room where the smiling woman stood. But there could be no question, a moment later, when a semi-erect Minotaur penis appeared through an opening beside the woman's head. Heavy-looking testicles hung behind a jutting appendage, and the foxwoman had beamed, depressing the pump of a large bottle on the table beside her, coating her gloved hands in oil. Once your room is set up and your client arrives, you'll need to ensure the collection unit is loaded and your client clipboard in order. Then, there's only one thing left to do. Her smile had widened, showing a row of blinding white teeth, offset with long, sharp, completely inhuman canines, and her hands had raised, gripping the erection without a moment of hesitation. Start milking.
Wow.
I think we got into the meat of the
You could say that again.
page 11.
I mean, that's wild.
That really paints a vivid picture.
It does.
If you just want to keep going, right there below the...
I mean, I think it goes without saying, too, though. Are Minotaurs just inherently, like, jacked, too, and, like, ripped?
I would.
Much
Yeah.
justification.
Yeah.
Cows can be quite lean,
Right. Like, I'm imagining there's a lot of muscle behind all this, too.
strong like bull.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. But I guess the Minotaurs have, like, the top of a bull, right?
Mm-hmm.
Interesting. I wonder if that plays a factor later.
Oh, you know what? I think maybe it depends. Because
It's,
the head of a bull,
human torso.
human torso, but then who knows what's going on in the bottom half.
You know, sometimes maybe it can be quadruped, or sometimes they can walk on 2 feet.
Yeah.
I feel like.
I think it's 2 feet, but they did say there was a tail.
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Yes.
Maybe 2 tails.
Clearly, it's a lot to work with down there.
Seems that
way.
That they're requiring.
I bet the
Maybe 3 legs.
Well, and also 3 legs for sure. But they, I mean, because from my imagination, I think they said like she saw the butt cheeks of the Minotaur with the tail in between it, right?
Oh.
So I'm imagining it's like bipedal with like some plump cheeks, I guess.
Yeah.
But either way,
It sounded like the member rose to the fox featured woman's head. So
It's
this
probably pretty tall.
these could be some.
It did say it appeared right, but
yeah.
Okay, you caught that
Yeah,
too.
yeah.
It did, yeah. I think it was kind of an elevating thing. Well, okay, wait. It hasn't specified. Can the bull or the Minotaurs see the technician? Because it seemed like it was kind of
Oh.
It said through the wall.
right. Like
So-
it seems like they insert into a kind of glory hole esque.
Right. I'm wondering if there's already a window.
Glory hole.
that could be where the name comes in.
You know, I do have to, one more before we continue, I do have to add that I'm glad that they do give the employees good PPE. It did say the shade gloves, so
Yeah.
You know, oil too. And
Yes.
I don't know
Yeah.
what kind of oil because they said they took pride in their sterility.
So they're keeping a good, safe environment there.
we'll see how safe.
Well, we'll see. I imagine there's at least a partition.
Yeah.
But let's continue.
Yeah.
Okay, for sure. That human men placed an enormous importance on their dicks was no surprise to her. The whole world seemed to be designed for cocks, after all. Offices that were too cold, seatbelts that cut across the neck instead of sitting comfortably across the chest, medicines that had only ever been tested on one segment of the population. Modern conveniences had been designed with only one half of the population in mind, at least in the human world. So the discovery that there was an entirely underground industry devoted to human men's erections was not surprising at all. Learning the lengths to which pharmaceutical companies were willing to go to ensure the production of those erection-enhancing little blue pills didn't slow, however, was eye-opening. Bull semen, specifically Minotaur semen, was a major component in giving the pills the oomph their devotees needed. And she, in her new role, if she decided to take the job, would be responsible for collecting it. She needed to decide by that evening, a decision that seemed as daunting as it had in the hours after she left the farm, in a daze as it did now. She had spent the rest of the previous evening slumped over her laptop, watching slack-jawed as the beaming foxwoman in the video jerked off Minotaur after Minotaur. Huge, hulking bull men resting comfortably against the padded breeding stocks. Their thick members prominently displayed for the technician who stood a level below them. Her dreams that night had been a twisted tangle of sharp, smiling teeth and the silhouettes of huge men. The shadows of their horns completely engulfing her as she was pushed to stand beneath them until she'd woken up gasping in a sweaty tangle, unsure of where she was or what she was contemplating.
I mean, that was a lot to unpack.
A lot to take in.
Seems like there was another time skip as well.
Could be, yeah.
But days after her orientation, still trying to decide.
Oh,
Still
so
thinking
now
about
she's
it,
got until that evening after some days have passed.
But I think too. I mean, do we pick up the greater context on why we're getting bull semen?
Yeah.
World building, like I said, I think that we're just going to keep getting more and more.
Masterful. I mean, she's just one of the best in class. Nascosta, just I don't know, depicting worlds in this way and just establishing such a framework for the society. It just feels so real already. It's craziness. But
in such quick fashion as well. I mean, we're not even fully finished with the first chapter. We're getting a lot of background here.
yeah, and also too, I just want to say like, kind of brave too to be able to just base your whole book on the concept of like a society that needs to milk bulls for semen in order to create. Sorry, minotaurs. Apologies. But in order to get their goods for Viagra, I think it's just a very interesting angle, and it kind of shows how this world it can exploit marginalized communities for what they can offer, and only for those in power to benefit from it. You know, so again, just masterful.
Yeah. It did say 1/2 of the population, alluding to the mythological creatures are the other half. So,
My interpretation, my interpretation is that the societal pandering that the main character was speaking about was about that.
Interesting, because you know what, I interpreted more like Z did over here, so that I think it's interesting. It goes to show the levels that this writing's already achieved in 12 pages.
Yeah.
But anyways, now that she watched the video repeatedly, small details she might have overlooked otherwise jumped out at her. The Minotaur's girthy members vaguely resembled their human counterparts, but there was no comparing the size.
I mean, no comparing.
Yeah, that I feel like we need to give humans a little more slack here.
I mean, we don't know the length, you know? It could be a foot, 2 feet.
Could be, but from my understanding of Minotaur mythology is that it's human down there. So let's pump the brakes.
Yeah.
But anyways, commensurate with the heft of the hulking bullmen, their cocks were long and impossibly thick, riddled in veins with prominent dome-like heads. Some bore the same coloration of their owners' varied hides, while others were bubblegum pink or deep red, flushed with the blood that engorged them. She wondered,
I
watching
kind of like that.
It shows they got a little bit of everything there.
Yeah.
But she wondered, watching as the technician moved her oiled hands in a continuous twist down the rigid shaft. If the men in the video had been specifically chosen as displays of the finest Minotaur meat available, and considered that reality might not match up with the glossy media, the same as it rarely did with human meat. That was a long sentence, I'm sorry. That
was one sentence.
Yeah, I know, that was like a... It's okay, though.
If we can cut this part out, lots of run-on sentences.
Yes. Yes. You know, we at the Boys Book Club, we don't choose favorites. We're just saying it how it is, you know. But it's up to you to decide when the use of mechanical stimulation is necessary, the chipper woman had said seriously into the camera. The implication was clear. If the men were taking too long, apply the cylinders of the milking machine to speed things up. Okay. I was going to wait to ask this, but I do think there's one glaring issue here. Why not just use the machines?
Yeah.
I know the technicians are needed, but it's like, that's where it's like, I think, as maybe that's part of the thrill.
This could be a long shot here, but in the same way that humanely killing an animal could make for better meat, maybe pleasurably making a bull finish might increase the quality of their splooge.
That's a great theory.
And the quantity.
And yeah, true.
If I might add, I think also it probably depends on the client, right?
Yeah.
Some clients might not work with the machines, and others might just work with the old manual application. So I think they're just trying to cast a wide net.
Yeah, no, that's actually, I think that's a great theory. But yeah, so back to it though. Despite the fact that she knew exactly what was coming, Violet began to breathe hard when the technician released her hands, letting the oiled cock bob as she took up one of the silver nozzles. The hum of the machine's air compressor was a steady white noise in the video, the mechanical arms within already pistoning, creating the rhythmic suction the Minotaur was about to experience. Sure enough, the big bull grunted and jerked as the cylinder was eased down his straining cock, lowing
deeply as the machine did its work.
I like to continue providing manual stimulation at this point, the technician advised, and Violet whimpered, the same reaction she had each time she'd replayed this section numerous times the night before, when the woman on the video began to rub at the huge, swollen testicles, pulling and squeezing as the Minotaur bucked against the table. Remember, the aim is a plentiful, speedy collection. So we do see the need for, some manual work there.
Makes sense.
So, can't leave the balls hanging.
A green light flicked to life on the machine, indicating the collection had commenced as the Minotaur lowered again, his generous hips shaking the stalks above the chipper technician's head as he slammed against them. Violet's eyes didn't know where to dart on the screen. The rutting hips of the bullman, the cylinder sucking on them. The cylinder sucking on the massive cock that jutted from the. Okay.
That's okay, take your time.
It gets shut up. Okay. The cylinder sucking on the massive cock.
Take your time, it's all good. It's just so vivid.
I'm imagining like a t-shirt, like t-shirt cannon.
Really paints a picture. The cylinder sucking.
If you have tap out, it's okay.
I like it. Okay.
Camera. Like we didn't cut it out. I just want to make sure
Alright, Okay, alright. The cylinder sucking on the massive cock that jutted from the opening in the bench. Or the twee old-fashioned milk bottle at the base of the collection unit that was steadily being filled with white. In the end, she dragged the video's progress indicator back repeatedly a dozen or so times.
Wait, what?
Just repeat. In the end, she dragged the video's progress indicator back repeatedly a dozen or so times. So this is Violet
Yeah, so she's
replaying this part.
obsessed.
Yeah.
It seems like it, whether she's ready to admit it to us or not.
Like,
She might just be really trying to absorb the materials, training materials that she's watching.
Okay.
she
This is what got her through undergrad.
right. She notes, the feelings of nervousness, anxiety, but clearly
about-
she's interested in this type of work.
Excitement.
Yeah, I feel some excitement as well. Given each point of interest her absolute focus. The bottle was nearly full when the Minotaur finally sagged in satisfaction, completely spent. And Violet did the same at her desk chair.
Oh,
Violet.
girl.
think she's gonna say
top
yes.
I think you might be right.
I have an inkling.
Alright. This is insane, she told herself. You can't do something like this. It's completely lewd and vulgar and inappropriate. Just get a job at the coffee place on the corner. Is it though?
Hey.
A traitorous little voice piped up as she opened the small pantry cabinet, seeking something for breakfast. It's a pharmaceutical company. A major multinational. It's not like you're working in some random guy's basement. She wasn't sure what she expected to find in the cupboard, knowing full well she hadn't gone shopping in over a week. It's not like you'd have to do it forever, the voice continued, as she walked up the sidewalk a short while later, heading to the discount grocery store several blocks away. Just until you can get on your feet and pay down some bills, until you can find something in your field that actually pays a living wage. She didn't know how long that would take. Didn't know if there would ever be jobs in her field that paid more than a pittance. The smell of the chain coffee shop on the corner caught her nose then, a waft of dark beans and sugary pastries, and Violet stopped in her tracks, heedless of the couple behind her, who were obliged to step into the street to move around her frozen form. What the hell are you doing? You're almost 26 years old, and you can barely pay your rent. You're on your way to buy day-old bread and generic orange juice. Really, you're going to get a second job at this coffee shop? You'll need to, because at this rate, that's the only way you'll ever be able to afford to have anything there. This job could be a lifeline, remember? Stop being so stupid. She imagined the curl of the overpriced coffee leaving her by the nose like an old-fashioned cartoon character as she crossed the street, pausing for only a moment before the shop's heavy doors. She was down to the last crumpled $20 bill at the bottom of her shoulder bag, and she actually did need to buy that no-brand orange juice, but she wanted breakfast, a proper diet. The coffee was burnt and bitter tasting, doctored with overly sweet syrups, and had the honey-glazed challah bread. Challah bread had cost nearly half of that crumpled $20. But it didn't matter. Once she was back in her apartment and in front of her laptop once more. I think I got a quite uneventful page there.
Yeah, go ahead.
I mean, yeah, she was very self-loathing, like just.
You know, she says that little voice is traitorous, I believe, or treacherous. You know, it seems to be pointing her in the right direction.
Yeah.
I feel like more of the anxiety-prone voice seems to. It reminds me of the upbringing she had.
Yeah. Well, and that's a great point because every time that she like is anxious, and it's all like negative, talking about her, she thinks her family thinks of her, and there's no way she can know that. She just needs to do what she has to do.
Yeah.
Consequences be damned.
Yeah.
This almost feels like a coming of age for like a young adult.
Yeah.
Maybe less like straying a little bit from the teenage kind of genre and more into like finding yourself in your mid-20s, becoming like a real adult.
Yeah. Exactly. Oh no, I think that is honestly quite true for a lot of us this age. You know, just trying to be comfortable in our skin, and I think again, the authors just managed to portray that already in amazing ways.
Now, could I ask, did they leave us in suspense? Because this is the morning time now.
Yeah, I was
She
like,
had until that evening to decide.
Well, if she declined, this wouldn't be much of a book.
that's a good point.
Yeah.
I also like that. My fault for laughing when I read it, but I couldn't hold it when I realized that she was replaying this video early in the that was like a before breakfast kind of thing for her, right? That was at least my interpretation, where she kept replaying it and then went to the pantry. So again, Violet's kind of a freak, if you ask me.
Yeah.
But again,
freak in disguise.
aren't we all?
At least she finally finished in time for breakfast.
Yeah.
Amen. Yeah.
That is true. That is true.
Yeah, it's like an appetizer.
Yeah. You know, a morning glory in its own.
Yes, yes.
Yeah,
I wonder if she's got milk in her fridge. Well, shall we?
Go ahead,
Go
yeah,
ahead.
by all means.
Okay. She paused, closing her eyes as she bit into the still warm bread, honey sticky on her lips, before clicking on the link that would take her to the schedule input screen.
Oh.
She's accepted.
Welcome to Morning Glory Farm! It was going to be okay, she breathed. You'll be on the schedule next week, and pretty soon you can drink all the overpriced burnt coffee you want. She queued up the video one last time before bed that night. One last time?
Yeah.
After she'd received the confirmation email welcoming her to the farm and outlining what she'd be doing the following week. Hands-on training will be provided. She was going to be good at this, Violet decided, dragging the cursor back to the zoom in on the technician's hands, memorizing the way she gripped the slippery cock, the way her hands twisted. She always applied herself, given the schoolwork and her part-time jobs, her all. And this would be no exception. When the green light clicked on, she noted the way the Minotaur's hips bucked against the breeding bench, his movement matching the rhythmic spatters against the inside of the bottle. His deep bellow of pleasure seemed to rattle in her brain as she settled in her bed, wondering if they would all make the same sort of noises, if they'd all buck and thrust wildly when they came as the Minotaurs in the video had. Hands-on training starting next week. You'll be finding out soon, she thought, ignoring the tingle between her thighs as she turned out the light. Woo!
Wow. And that was the end of chapter 1 right there.
16 pages.
I mean, talk about just diving head on deep into it. This is, at this point, we already have a fully fleshed out world with social dynamics and quite the interesting MacGuffin that is the bull semen, or Minotaur semen, apologies. I gotta work that out.
I think it applies.
Yeah.
A lot to take in. Yeah.
But I will call Violet on some bullshit here already.
Please.
Because the thing is, she said right there at the end that she is one to dive all the way in. And applying herself, and yes, I can see that. But I also, she's applying herself in all the wrong ways, because it's like, how are you one to dive all the way in, but you're going to the milking farm orientation still unsure it's what the hell you're supposed to be doing there, And I get it, there's a level of, disbelief in this world, but that to me is where it kind of gets a little bit alright.
I think we're going to be frustrated with her a few times in the book. I think clearly she's a bit naive.
Also, seems a lot of conflicting voices in her head. She seems very indecisive.
Yeah.
So, I think, agreed. We'll be seeing more of that. But I think, as time goes, she is a hard worker, as it seems. So, I hope she applies herself and, succeeds at this job.
I hope it translates. I hope it really does translate. But it will be interesting to see just how that, along with all the other things in her life going on, kind of create this situation that is the rest of this book.
Yeah, I agree.
But
Can we get a page count? Total page count?
It's been 16 pages so far.
How long is the book?
The whole book looks to be 241 pages.
wow, so we're in for a ride. We're in for a ride,
Yeah.
I think Violet is too.
Yeah.
Man.
to say the least. Many more Minotaur milking sessions to come.
I just hope that HR stays out of this book.
Yeah, that's for sure. But I think with that, though, that does it for our first episode of the Boys Book Club. And we would like to thank you all for watching, and we hope to catch you next time when we go into Chapter 2 of Morning Glory Milk Farm.